East Africa is said to be the most vulnerable to terror attacks of all regions in Sub-Saharan Africa. CGTN's Daniel Arapmoi has been speaking to a security analyst looking at the successes and challenges in the fight against terrorism in the region.
Joining me is Mr. Mwenda Mbijiwe, a security consultant and chief executive officer of Ion Security, also a former Kenya Air Force officer. Well, welcome, Mr. Mwenda.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me.
Terrorists have been targeting East African civilians and troops for many years now. Why have no lessons been learned?
Lessons have been learned, just that maybe we've not paid attention to the lessons. Because lessons are their mode of attack, their timing of attack, the nature of those attacks.
What are some of the current preemptive measures being employed by East African governments to counter terrorism?
The region intelligence community has since removed the barriers that they had with each other. The fear that Uganda had sharing intelligence information with Kenyan intelligence community, the same with Tanzanian and the region, the boundary for intelligence sharing has almost been eradicated.
Why do we often fail to preempt these attacks despite sometimes credible intelligence reports pointing to imminent attacks by terrorist groups?
That was true up to about a year ago or 2 years ago. But since then, there has been almost what I would call automatic response to intelligence, actionable intelligence. I agree with you. Westgate, it was a complete failure of fusing together intelligence and police and military operation to preempt the attack. The same happened a year later less than a year later in Garissa University attack. However, since then, especially after the Garissa, there was a cracking of the whip. In Kenya, the president made his intelligence chiefs, or rather his security chiefs, he held them to account.
Would you agree to the fact that East Africa region is especially vulnerable to terrorism because of conflict, weak governance, collapsed state institutions, and porous borders that allows extensive and uncontrolled movement of people and illegal weapons?
That is one of the most amazing statement I've had in a long time, because a lot of people actually refuse to look at the core issues that make the region very vulnerable to terror attacks. However, now what we could add to that is we call it expansion of the terrorist map. The terror map, the boundaries are extending.
Is the use of military intervention a productive measure in countering terrorism?
When you hear military has been asked to deal with a situation, then it's a serious situation, and almost always the military does not get it wrong.
What are the successes and challenges in the fight against terrorism in East Africa?
The key challenge is maintaining law and order without hurting the societal coexistence. And that has been a key challenge, and sometimes, unfortunately, we don't even get to know how to do it. But yet, we cannot profile religion, we cannot profile people, we can only profile behavior. One of the key successes the region has had in this fight against terrorism is being able to pick lessons from most of these attacks.